Yo, what's good, beautiful people? It's your boy Baba J. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be previewing tomorrow's fixture, Nottingham Forest versus Arsenal in the Premier League. So, of course, we're not the only ones playing. Manchester United versus Man City will be the early kickoff, and I will most definitely be tuning into that game. Hopefully, Manchester United can do us a favor. But either way, listen, we need to focus on our game, focus on the food that is on our table, and we must collect 3 points tomorrow. Yeah, cool. So let's get into it. I've just finished watching Mikel Arteta's press conference, and like usual, he's not really giving much away, but there was a few gems sprinkled in there. So I'm going to be updating you guys on what he said about any injury updates. He's also spoken about Gyokeresh's performance and what's been going on behind the scenes with that. And we're going to be looking through some of the facts and figures around this fixture. And yeah, I'll be giving you maybe my predictions on the starting lineup. Yeah, what I'm expecting from the game, really, score predictions, etc. So let's get straight into it. This is what Mikel Arteta has had to say in regards to the injuries. So on if there's any fresh injury concerns, simple answer, no, which is good because at one point during the season, it felt like every single time we stepped onto that field, we were just coming out with a fresh new injury. But it seems like, we've kind of got through that rough period, fingers crossed. And yeah, we've got a lot of players that have come back, the likes of Kai Havertz, the likes of Jesus, and are slowly being integrated back into the team. So the next question on if there's any chance for players who have been missing out. So it might be. So I need to meet now with the medical staff. We have a training session now to see if somebody is available for the weekend. And I feel like the way we've been timing our press conferences so far this year has been very, very, very interesting. It's always before the last training session. So it gives Arteta that easy way out of answering that question. So it's annoying from my perspective as an Arsenal fan because the anxiety of not knowing whether some of our best players are going to be fit, it can be annoying. But I also see the positives in the sense that it makes it really hard to predict how to set up against Arsenal if you're an opposition manager, because you also don't know who's going to be fit. So it's mind games, but listen, with all the options that we have now, we want to keep the opposition guessing. So I completely understand why Mikel Arteta is doing that. But yeah, I guess in regards to Calafiori and Mosquera, for example, he did indicate that there's a chance. I do believe that they are back on grass. So he will be looking at them during this training session. And I don't know if Calafiori is going to be fit enough to make this game. I hope he is because he's been so important to our system this year. And in the games where we've looked at our best, he's most definitely been on the pitch and played an integral role in making us look sharp and exciting when we're going forward. So they asked him who that might be. He said, I can't tell you, but we already know who's injured. It's Calafiori, it's Mosquera, and it's Hincapié. We saw the way Hincapié went down, it was like, a week or two ago. He's not going to be back already. Mosquera's been out for a while now. He should be, finding his way back. Same thing with Calafiori as well. So that is all of the updates on the injury front. So another player that he spoke about was, of course, Victor Gyokesh. And I feel like with the press conferences lately, like they've just been asking the same questions about Victor over and over again. How is he looking behind the scenes? Is he feeling the pressure? Do you still have faith in him? I'm just thinking to myself, what do you expect Mikel Arteta to say? Do you think he's going to come out and say, no, he's been rubbish. He's been really sad in training. He's been in the corner crying. Everyone's bullying him. Like, he's not going to say that, but think of some more interesting questions to ask, But, he did speak on it. And I think some of the things that he was saying, essentially, the usual, yeah, he's got a positive attitude towards everything. He doesn't look like he's letting the critique and the negativity get to him. Mikel Arteta also mentioned that him and his coaching staff have let him know that, listen, with the numbers that you put up in the past and the standards that you set, unfortunately, at this level, you are going to be up for criticism and scrutiny, just like he is as a manager. It's going to be the same thing for one of the players who has been touted as one of the best strikers in Europe. So it's natural, you know. But he has said that Victor's responded with a good attitude, and he seems to be getting more comfortable. There's also been rumors this week talking about how, for the past however many months, 4 or 5 months, he's been living out of hotels, but he's finally managed to get himself his own house in London, which obviously is going to make a difference. Personally, all that kind of stuff to me is air, because at the end of the day, we never really know what goes on behind closed doors in these players' personal lives. A lot of players, whether they're on loan, whether they're new signing, they all go through the same thing, you know, not having a house, maybe being separated from their family. It's part of the game, it's part of the sport. And as a top professional, you have to deal with those kind of things. But if it is true, I'm happy for him on a personal level. And hopefully, you know, that can have some sort of impact into his game. But in regards to whether he is going to start, I'm not sure. You know, he did play 80 minutes midweek, and it was a tough, you know, end-to-end exciting game. He was pressing a lot, and yeah, you know, a lot of emotions in that game for him as well, getting a goal and an assist. So I'm not too sure whether he's going to start. If he doesn't start, I reckon Gabriel Jesus will start. He's been getting a decent amount of minutes over the past couple of weeks or so. I think he even started a game recently as well. So I won't be surprised if we do see Gabriel Jesus. If we see Kai Havertz, I'll also be happy, but I think it's a bit too early for him to be starting games in the Premier League. So I won't be surprised if it's Jesus that starts and then Kai Havertz comes off the bench. Or if Gokesh does start, I also wouldn't be surprised at that as well. So let's get into this match preview. So Saturday the 17th of January, it's one of our many away fixtures in a row, and we'll be heading down to the City Ground at 5:30 to take on Nottingham Forest. Let's look at the head-to-heads. So far this season, Nottingham Forest are currently sitting 17th. Very, very close to that danger zone. Of course, they've already sacked one manager this season, and they brought in Sean Dyche in the hopes that he could save them from relegation. Personally, I don't think they're at risk. You know, the teams below them are absolutely diabolical, but it's the Premier League, man. You never know, you know. And playing these relegation battling sides is never easy, especially when you're going to their stadium. So when you look at it and you compare, Arsenal were, of course, sitting first in the league. They've only accumulated 21 points compared to our 49. They've scored 21 goals in comparison to our 40, which is pretty much almost half. And looking at the form guide, their last game against Wrexham in the FA Cup, which they actually went out on penalties, which was an embarrassing shame. That's not good reading for them. Our last fixture, of course, the win at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea. West Ham, they won. Everyone's beating West Ham right now. Portsmouth, we won. Nothing really to scream and shout about there. They got beat by Aston Villa at Villa Park, which is expected. You know, a lot of people are going to go to Villa Park this season and get slapped up. Arsenal, we drew in that boring game against Liverpool. They lost to Everton at home, which is probably one of the most damning results, you know, that I'm seeing here. Because Everton themselves haven't been fantastic, but you would expect them to do well at their stadium. But hey. And they also lost to Man City, which I guess is understandable. But it looks like they gave Man City a game. And one thing I'll say about Nottingham Forest, because we already played them earlier on in the season, although they don't win a lot of games, like they are a hard team to beat, and they're definitely a hard team to break down. And you can see, looking at this, that Man City struggled in that game, although they won 2-1. It wasn't an easy win. And then Arsenal, obviously, we beat Bournemouth. That was a tough game as well. And Aston Villa, we absolutely slapped them up at the Emirates. Cool. So in all of our previous meetings, we've played 99 times. They've won 28. We've drawn 21. And we have won 50 times, which I guess is expected. And in terms of the last few times we've played them, Arsenal have won the last fixture 3-0. Draw last season at their ground, which I remember that game. I didn't want to talk about it. And then, yeah, at the Emirates again last season, we beat them 3-0. So if I'm being honest, I am expecting a win from this game, nothing less, but I don't think it's going to be easy. So let's look at some of the match facts. And to be honest, sometimes these match facts are a bit obscure, but let's go through them. So Nottingham Forest have lost 8 of their last 10 Premier League games against Arsenal, though both exceptions have come at the City ground since their return to the division in 2022, which I don't know how to take that, because I guess it shows our superiority over them, but it also shows that if they are going to get something out of this game, it's going to be at the City ground, which is exactly where we'll go in tomorrow. So, we don't know what that result is going to be in that Manchester derby. But if Man City do win, it's going to increase the pressure on Arsenal, because for a few hours at least, they're going to reduce that gap from 6 to 3 points. And so far this season, we've responded well when Man City have reduced the gap. So I'm expecting us to do exactly the same thing tomorrow, irrespective of the result in that game. So Arsenal have kept a clean sheet in each of their last 3 Premier League games against Nottingham Forest, their longest run of league shutouts against the Tricky Trees, which is good reading. Good reading. Arsenal's defense, earlier on in the season was touted as the best defense in Europe. In recent weeks and months, I guess it's kind of slipped off a bit. A lot of injuries might have played a part in that, but even since we've had Gabriel and Saliba back, we've still been leaking goals. Chelsea on the weekend, another away game. Just gone past another away game, we conceded 2, and they weren't fantastic goals. I think both of them were down to poor defending or bad goalkeeping. So yeah, I don't know how to take that. Only West Ham and Wolves have lost more Premier League home games this season than Nottingham Forest. It's the Tricky Trees joint most defeats in their opening 10 home matches of a league campaign, while only in 1908 to 1909 have they ever lost as many as 7 in their first 11. Again, that's not good, so it just goes to show the City ground has not been a fortress for them this season. So I guess that's good reading for me as an Arsenal fan. Gives me a bit of confidence. We've been much better on the road this year than we have in previous years, and I do think the gap between us is probably the biggest it's been in a few seasons. So yeah, Nottingham Forest have lost 6 of their 10 Premier League home games this season, won 3, drawn 1, already one more than they lost at the City ground the whole of last season. Forest have also conceded more home goals this term, 17, than in 2024-2025. So yeah, their home form has just fallen off a cliff. Absolutely. And we all saw them last season before. They were a team that a lot of people were showing a lot of love and respect to. So to see them in this situation now, it is disappointing. But I guess as an Arsenal fan, it's a good time to play them away. When you look at their home record and how many goals they're conceding, this definitely does fill me with a little bit more confidence going into that game tomorrow. Cool. So how do I feel about the fixture? I think we're going to win. I'm not too sure in regards to the lineup that Arteta's going to field. Yeah. So our next fixture is, of course, against Inter Milan in the Champions League on Tuesday at 8 p.m. And I think if there's a game for us to rotate, personally, for me, it would be that one. We're already top of the UCL table, so I don't think we're at risk of not qualifying to the knockout rounds. Listen, man, every single Premier League game right now is super important. And I think we don't have the luxury of being able to take any game for granted, especially when you have Man City moving crazy like they are in the market. We've already seen the impact that Semenyo has come into the team and had already. I personally think they are going to beat Manchester United at Old Trafford this weekend. You never know, but I don't want to get my hopes up. So, in my opinion, we have no choice but to win this game this weekend. So, I would go strong. I think I would probably start Gabriel Jesus, Gokesh. People forget that he was out injured as well. So I think we need to kind of nurse him back to full fitness as well. Obviously, he performed well on when was it, Wednesday? But listen, man, Jesus is pretty much back to full fitness. I would probably start Jesus and bring Gokesh on into the game. I think that's something that we haven't seen enough. Most of the games that Gokesh has played in, he started. Well, maybe I would like to see it the other way around, where someone else starts, we give them an opportunity to get a run in, get some minutes in their legs, and then bring Gokesh into the game. Maybe when the other team is chasing it, we might see a different side of Gokesh, you know? So I would start Jesus. I will start Bukayo Saka, and I will start Leandro Trossard. In the midfield, kind of picks itself. Odegaard, Zubimendi, Declan Rice. And in defense, this is where, you know, we're not too sure in regards to the injury front, but I would probably go with Timber at right back. Timber at right back? Yeah, Timber at right back. Gabriel and Saliba centre backs. And I would probably play Miles Lewis Skelly in left back, in my opinion. That's probably what I would go with. But we'll see. Again, we don't know if Calafiori is going to be fit, but even if he is fit, he's probably going to start on the bench. Who knows? And then Arteta will probably maybe bring him back in for the Inter Milan game. But we'll see. So in regards to my score prediction, I am going to go for a 3-0 Arsenal win. I think we've been putting the ball in the back of the net quite a lot recently. Our set piece record is obviously really good. Nottingham Forest, in terms of scoring, they haven't been scoring a lot this season, and they're conceding a lot of goals away. At their own ground. So I am expecting us to win this game, and I don't think it's going to be comfortable. I think we'll probably go into halftime 1-0 up, and then in the second half, I think we'll probably kill the game off. So yeah, that is my preview for this weekend's fixture. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, what the score prediction will be, who you think should start in regards to the lineup. And yeah, just your overall thoughts on how you're feeling, you know, for this second half of the season. But that has been that, guys. If you like this video, drop a like, hype it up, subscribe, please. Follow me on all social media, and I will see you guys again soon. Peace.
It's what the world been missing right here.